It was lovely to have you guys. We have got a very juicy topic to be discussing today. I think it is by no means an easy topic to discuss, but it's one that has layers. Layers.
Many layers.
Layers. And there's one word that comes to mind, and I think you're going to end up going into it, and it's just... You know, like, that's what happens. We've got our format and we have to do our introduction and so on and so on. We have to check if we're okay on Instagram and okay on Facebook and okay on YouTube. But I just want to start. I just want to go straight in. So please, guys, bear with me, my haste and my excitement, because there's just one word that drops in with acts of service. And I think it ties, like... Can I go there? Should I wait a minute?
You better wait 1 minute. You better just
see what just happened here.
Just step on that brake right there.
Okay, so it's linked with what just happened here.
Oh my god. Sorry guys, give us a sec.
Hey guys, we are just checking in with you guys. We're gonna get started very soon. We've had a lovely Tuesday. And we're just looking at the different platforms that we're on, because we go live on Instagram, we go live on YouTube, and we go live on Facebook. That's the one. I knew there was one more. Hey, Moj.
Long time.
And so because of that, we have to make sure everything's live, everything's okay. You guys can hear us okay. So hi, I'm getting some thumbs up, I'm getting some love, I'm seeing everybody. Show some love, so that's really good. It's really good to have you guys.
Hey Facebook and YouTube, can you give us a thumbs up as well if you guys can hear us?
Hear us okay.
We're trying a little
okay.
Slightly different audio situation.
Yes.
So let us know.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
What a day!
For those of you who are waiting for what we're going to be talking about today, you're on the edge of your seats.
It seems to be like a bit of a fiery one today.
Jeez.
And we ain't even got to physical touch yet.
Hey. Come on, somebody. But we get to that one. I think we're going to have to tell people to come with their fans.
Jeez. Yeah, it's just gonna get heated. Cool, man.
Yeah, so I'll be good.
We're kind of good. Always an issue with Facebook.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient.
So it's all good. We'll just kick off. Because man, want to try and see if we can finish a bit early today. If you guys will allow us, if the conversation will allow us.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
so let's go.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Hi. Hope you guys are well. If you're tuning in for the very first time, my name is Ulrich.
And I'm Siobhan.
And this is To Love Collective, where our ethos is believing in love again. The reason why we do that and the reason why we believe that is because it doesn't matter where you're at in your relationships, whether that's romantic, with your parents, with your siblings, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, you can always be inspired to believe in love again. If you're in a bad place, you can be inspired to believe in love again.
Absolutely.
And even if things are good, there's always another level that we can go to in our giving of love. All right? Yes. So that's what we're all about. And we have been tackling this subject, the 5 love languages. And a famous book by Gary Champman, which was really the foundation of our dating.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we really need to kind of understand our love languages, right? Yeah. So that we can have a relationship where we kind of understand each other a little bit better. So we've been talking about a few of them.
Yes.
I think we started off with quality time. Yeah, quality time. Quality time. She's looking at me like, what? Which one did we? Yeah, quality time.
Yeah.
Quality time, I think, was last week.
Yeah.
And then the week before that was the first one we did was what is your love language?
Yeah.
So go back to YouTube, Facebook, definitely listen to how to identify your love language.
Yeah.
And then I think we went into
I thought quality time was last week. And I thought the week before that.
What did we do the week before that?
Gifts.
Yes,
First
giving
week was gifts.
There we go.
Second week was quality time.
Yeah,
this
and
week
today
is acts
of service.
Now, so can we jump in?
Yeah, come on.
Yay!
She's been waiting. She's been waiting patiently.
Patiently. A word that came to mind, and I don't know if it's a bit controversial, guys, so please, 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 if you think it's controversial, if you don't see it like that, talk to us. Talk back.
Let us know.
Send your comments, write it, let us know what you think.
Let us know.
So acts of service, I believe, ties in, like, intrinsically with submission.
Hey,
and that word submission is almost like a don't talk about it in the marriage, don't bring that up.
What do you mean submit?
Independence. And I'm not just saying independent for women, there's also some guys like, you know, all of that. And I think to really tackle some of the key things that come up in acts of service, I think we need to delve into how we really see submission.
Wow.
Because in your love gift and in your offering, in your time that you're making a gesture to the one that you love, it is in spite of a headship, in spite of a position, in spite of roles and expectations and society declaring what a man should do and what a woman should do, whose role is it anyway, who should be putting the kids to bed, who should be washing up, who should be tidying up the house, who should do what. It challenges every precept. If we don't look at submission, we've missed it. We can't talk about, well, you know, I love it when this person does this for me, or I love it when I get my feet rubbed, and all those different things, because those things are lovely, but
100.
Submission, I feel like it's just some unwritten, unmentioned, it's almost like a cuss word. Like, you're so old fashioned if you talk about submission. But if we don't have submission in our marriage, and it's both ways.
Submit one to another, Ephesians 5.
If we don't have a mutual submission, if we don't have an expression toward wanting to humble ourselves before this person.
And wanting to serve each other.
Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to get one over on you. I'm not trying to outsmart or outdo you. You know, like, see, I did this for you, I did this for you, I did this for you.
Or manipulate the situation.
Exactly. I'm not doing it for people to. It's not a tally chart system whereby somebody now look what I've done.
You know, it takes no record of wrong.
Yeah, but also it's the other way around. It takes no record of
what I've done.
Yeah, it's a pride.
Look how many times I've
look
washed the dishes, and
for you.
Look how many times I have put the kids to bed, and look how many times I just do it. Just do it.
And it's funny because I feel like it's really crazy when we're doing the acts of service. It needs to be because we're doing it out of a love gift and not out of
char. Out of char.
Yeah, out of char. Let me just do it so I don't have to hear the noise in my head. But also at the same time, there is also always that phrase, remember when. Yes, you're so right.
It's true.
Remember when I did this, remember when I did that for you.
That's true.
And then it kind of gets thrown back in your face. It's kind of like, do you remember that time when I lent you that £1? Do you remember that time?
It's so true, so true. I think
okay.
Submission.
It's true. Yeah, you could be doing something for somebody and be rebelling internally. Absolutely.
It's true.
And I think that, like, But that's when you're getting like a deeper depth of, I'm doing this but I don't want to. You know, like some people say, you know, like when the footballers, some of them were saying that they're not bowing, they're not going to take the knee, or they were taking the knee and they were doing it on the inside and things like that. I'm standing but I'm bowing the knee on the inside and things like that. And I think that's absolutely true. And it shows that there are some real loggerheads that are taking place in marriage, because at the end of the day, even if you're not really submitted internally, it will show.
Yeah, it will.
It will show. It will show in your true acts of service. It's almost like you know that you're making the person a cup of tea, but you make them a cup of tea not the way they like it. Almost like you make them a white tea with milk and sugar, and they really just prefer a herbal tea.
Or you just make it in custom whilst you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's be real, guys. You make the tea and you're just cussing. You're just like
stirring it. See how I'm doing these things. Do you know what I mean?
But I think there's also an element to it. Just to go off what Arlene was saying about, you know, serving without submission. Because I think to truly serve is to truly submit. Because if you're serving and you're not really meaning it, then you're not really serving. You're just really doing.
You're just, yes.
Because to serve, to truly serve, is to truly give.
You're preaching.
Do you understand? So, because that word serve, I think, is such a powerful word. Do you know what I mean? Because essentially what you're doing is you are submitting. Because look at submission. It's sub, which means under, mission, which means where you're going. So you're submitting under a mission. Yeah. You're submitting under a particular direction that you're trying to go. Do you know what I mean? So to really serve someone, to say, look, I'm bringing this to you as a gift or as a help. Yeah. What you're actually saying in that action is, I'm coming below or coming under what it is that you need. So that I can fulfill your desire or your need in that moment. That's good. Do you know what I mean?
That's good.
So,
preach.
So if you're doing the act of serving, but not really meaning it, then you're not actually serving. No. You're just doing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Do you get what I mean? So.
And after a while, you'll get tired of it.
Exactly. You become impatient.
Yeah, you'll get frustrated. You'll be like, and that's when you get to the remember whens.
Come on.
Like, you're just like, haven't I done this already? Don't you remember when I did that?
It's true.
Don't you remember when I did this? Hold on. Don't you remember?
Do you remember?
But the point is that when you've got to throw this thing back
in the spirit,
it's like we are told that we shouldn't keep a tally chart of our wrongs. But I also think that when we're giving, I don't think we need a pat on the back kind of thing. I think that it's almost like you want someone to recognize, okay, so here it is. If somebody does something wrong to me, I need to have forgiven them, whether they say sorry or not. And it's exactly the same with if I do something for someone.
It's true.
If I do something for someone, whether they say thank you or not is irrelevant. I'm doing that thing to do that thing, to bless that person, to give, to show that act of love. So, prime example.
It's like what Pastor Clinton said. You do it to
exactly.
them, not for him.
So Pastor Clinton said something to us years ago about how I didn't do it for you. I did it to you. I showed you this side of love, but it wasn't for you. It was for my God, because He has instructed me
to love you,
regardless. And to love regardless of whether you deserve. Exactly. Regardless of whether you thank me or not, regardless of whether you appreciate me or not, regardless of whether you show me that affection that I'm wanting, I'm still coming here to give to you because I'm doing it for my God to you.
Yeah, it just puts a whole, like, I'm just getting messed up in my head right now. Like, it just puts a whole new spin on love.
That's right.
Because if love is a decision,
it's good.
Then you could, it's almost like you can technically love without liking. Like, you can love someone, show them love. Do you know what I mean? And just be like, oh, you know, but you're doing it because you know that you have to. You've been instructed to. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes that's how it is with relationships. Sometimes, you know, I don't want to do what Siobhan wants. Do you know what I mean? But I do it because I love her. Do you know what I mean? And I have to, and in that moment, when you truly love, you truly submit. Because love is really, I feel like love is really authenticated when you don't want to do it.
So, a prime example of this.
Because I don't think Jesus wanted to die. Do you think he wanted to die, guys?
No, he didn't want to.
I don't think he wanted to die. Because in that garden, he was sweating blood. He was like, look, if you could take this cup of me, you better take it. Because I don't want to die for these people. But not my will. Oh,
but your will be done.
Jesus. He didn't want to die for you. He prayed for God's will to be done, guys.
Yeah.
What? Anyway, sorry, I'm just getting excited.
No, but it's truth. It's truth. I think that when we get... Ooh, good question. Good question.
We'll tackle that.
Good
How do you
question.
know when you've forgiven someone? Jeez, this is not a forgiveness
Thank
topic.
you.
It's act of service.
Yeah, it's
but we'll
acts
come
of
back
service,
to it.
But we will come back to this because it's a deep one. But just coming back to acts of service, I think that the position of the heart is integral.
Come on.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Now, one of the things that Ulrich and I have always identified is your heart and your heart issues will expose you. It will expose you. Even if it doesn't expose you with what you say, it will expose you with what you do.
100%.
You don't even realize it. But 90% of what we communicate is through body language anyway.
Come on.
So let's just take off the sound, the tone and all of that stuff, and let's just look at body language. From the time you come and you bring something to someone or you do something as an act of service, but your heart isn't in it, best believe 9 times out of 10 it's gonna show. And it doesn't take Columbo or Poirot or my girl who writes Murder, She Wrote. It doesn't take any of them to identify. You didn't mean it.
Yeah,
you didn't mean it. You cleaned those dishes, or you washed that, or you put the kids to bed, or you went shopping, or you did whatever you did, not because you wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And it's kind of like it has a bad smell. It taints what it is that you've done. So it doesn't matter if you've done something lovely, because your heart wasn't in it, or because you didn't feel like you wanted to do it. It gives it this.
Yeah, but then I guess this is the thing, isn't it? It's like, how do you make that transition? Yeah. If you're in a, because I know we've been there. Do you know what I mean? Where we've had beef, we talked about either our love language, not directly but indirectly, as to what we want, and then it's kind of like, well, yeah, you did it, but
did you do it because you wanted to do it, or did you just do it because I said this?
But but then this is what I think. I think sometimes you need to fake it until you make it.
See,
I feel like sometimes you need to do it because you don't, because you can't. Sometimes you can't just switch that. You can't just switch that switch, because if it's like, because you're the one that always says, right, when two people are coming together, if they've lived 25 years one way, and 25 years the other way, that's 50 years into one house. And then now you're expecting each other to just do what each other wants to do. And it's mad. Do you know what I mean? It's not realistic. So even in fulfilling each other's expectations, one is a time thing. Because becoming one, if we're talking about the context of marriage, that takes years. Like where we are now, that's only because of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only because of time.
Absolutely.
Because the arguments that we have had. Do you know what I mean? And this is what I keep saying. You kind of have not fake it until you make it, but you almost have to be in that position where you know that this is something that you need to do, even though you don't like it. You do it the first time, you're just like, oh gosh, do I have to do this? And you do it again, and after a while, you get used to it. You're just like, oh, it's not so bad.
I hear you,
Do you know what I mean?
but at the same time, it's almost like God loves a cheerful giver. Who doesn't love a cheerful giver?
But even with God, sometimes when you're giving that money that he told you to give, you ain't cheerful.
Yeah, but you're giving it begrudgingly and he's like, I don't want it.
No, but it's not about the begrudgingness of it. It's if God tells you to give one fat something and you're just like, yo, sometimes it's difficult to be cheerful. Come on, guys, let's be real. Can I get a, you know, an amen, a little hand up here, me too? Because sometimes the reality of it is, okay, yes, we're supposed to, do you know what I mean? But I think it's the same thing with God. Like when he begins to deal with you in your relationship with him, in your relationship of trust, at the beginning, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because you're thinking about what you're losing. You're thinking about yourself and what it's costing you. Do you know what I'm saying? But after you kind of walk with God a little while, you know, and he's proved himself, then it's now easier to say, oh, God, are you sure? But okay, because look at that same thing I said with Jesus. He said, son, you're going to have to die. Do you know what I mean? Jesus knew this from when Adam ate the fruit. Do you understand? So he had prep time.
Yeah.
To the cross. You know what I mean, guys?
It's true.
But at the same time, it's like the nature of man is that sometimes we don't want to do what is required. We don't want to do the hard thing.
And herein lies the maturity that's required for relationships.
Exactly.
And the maturity that's required for marriage. Because if you are trying to get to a place of a working marriage and a working relationship, we need to be able to arrive at the point where I can lose my desire. I cannot have it go my way and not throw a tantrum, kick up a stink, and not pull my weight. Because you know, like when you're a kid and you're playing the game, like musical statues, and the person says you're out, and you're like, no, I'm not, and like everyone's like, can you just hurry up and leave the space so we can restart the music? And they're arguing, and it's just like, no, can you just step to the side? I say all of that to say, you're in a marriage with someone and they didn't get their way, they didn't get that act of service that they wanted, so now all of a sudden they're not pulling their weight, they're not doing other stuff that they're expected to do or that they would have normally done.
Yeah, it's true.
It's almost like if that person would have normally made dinner, they're now deciding I'm not making that dinner because I didn't get what I wanted or you didn't do. Yeah. I think tit for tat is a really dangerous
place to be.
Dangerous place to be.
So true. And I think at the core of it, it's like we have to remember that acts of service, like just breaking down that word. That's why I started with it, about serving. Yeah. Like, it's never about you. Serving is never about you. Like, Siobhan is blessed to be married to me, right? Because I am a household man. Yes. Do you understand? Yes. Like, I don't need Siobhan to clean and tidy up. Yeah. I don't need her to.
Yeah, it's true.
Because if I'm by myself, she knows. As soon as her and the boys go out of this house, listen, the first hour, as soon as they come out of this house, I'm tidying up. Not because it's a mess, but just because I know that running a home with 2 children and everything that we do, it's tough, man. Do you know what I mean? And I've had to learn patience because she knows when we were married. At the beginning, yeah, because the way that we are now, the things that I allow to be present around me, woo, I'm a different man today.
Yes, very, very different.
But honestly, it's not about you. Do you understand? Like, even one of my brothers, you know, speaking to him, and he was struggling in that area because his wife was like me, where it's like everything needs to be neat and tidy and clean, and he was just like, man, I do it. And it's just like, and we had to speak to him, and we, you know, we had our, you know, our little, and I was like, bro, look, just try just one thing. If it's one room, just keep trying. And now, listen, he's now, no, it's untidy, guys. No, let's tidy up. Do you know what I mean? And so these are the things sometimes at the beginning. Yeah. It's not, and this is why like counseling and speaking to other couples is so important, because sometimes you think that you're in your own world, like you're the only one. But honestly, guys, trust me, as you begin to kind of work these things out and begin to do them, even though you don't like it, eventually, it doesn't. It's not as bad as it was before.
I do hear you, and thank you, Arlene, for your comment.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
And Kayon Us humans are naturally selfish.
Yeah, that's true.
To be selfless is a continual practice. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And even on that note, sorry, just to kind of ad-lib off that, like, especially when we spoke on submission, one of the things that we always said and we took out of the Bible is that I think in our culture, because culture has really distorted submission.
That's right.
To make it this thing where it's like, you must do what I say.
Yeah.
It's this kind of, you must serve me, especially when it comes to, the whole male and female dynamic. But when you actually check scripture, this is what I always say, and I always encourage the ladies, submission is learned behavior. We were never created to submit, which is the reason why we have a problem when people say submit.
Because
it's not a natural thing.
You're not expecting to do. Exactly.
It's not a natural thing. Like Kayon said, we're stubborn. We're just naturally selfish.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Honestly, guys, the Bible says wickedness is bound up in the heart of a child. Now, I categorically believe the reason why you have to teach your child how to do what's right is because what is ingrained in them is to do what is wrong. You don't have to teach your child how to do what is wrong.
Come on.
They already do what is wrong.
The nature of sin is in us, man.
They do what is wrong. It's you training them how to say thank you. It's you training them how to put their clothes away and their toys away. It's you training them when you come into a room and you see someone, you greet them, you say good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever it is. There is a training that takes place.
Come on.
Not because they know to do it. They have to learn these things. It's learned behaviour. And it's exactly the same with submission. It's learned, practiced behaviour.
100%. And this is why sometimes you have to do it even though you don't like it.
I hear you.
Because kids look at Matthias continually. How many times? You don't even want to know. I feel like my parents, it's actually very deep. How many times I've told him, he's 5 years old and he knows how to clean his room from top to bottom exactly the way that I like it. Right? So I say this to him almost every day. But yet still, he doesn't listen. And I say to him, let's go and clean your room. And he's like, okay. And he goes. And then he comes back after like 2 minutes. I'm like, your room is not tidy. Do you understand? So, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it when I start moaning and I come in the room and I'm like, right, what's over there? What's over there? What that's doing it? He doesn't like it. But I'm telling you, and I keep saying it to Siobhan, I was like, you wait until this boy grows up. Do you understand? He's going to be like...
No, I totally agree with you. I agree. I hear you. And I think just picking up off what is going on in the chat. So... Arlene said something a bit earlier.
Okay.
She said, I agree with Ulrich. The motive may not matter at the start.
Right.
Like Paul in Philippians 1:18, the important thing was that Christ was being preached even by the people with the wrong attitude. And I remember that story in the Bible. It's hilarious. I just thought that they were so funny when they said, but they were casting out demons in your name, but they weren't with us. And yeah, anyway. So Arlene then goes on to say, with what Kayon had said about us having we have a selfish nature and we have to learn how to put on a selfless nature. Yeah, we have to practice it. And then Arlene was saying, you know what, as a mother, that sacrifice is natural.
Come on.
You do it without even thinking about it.
It's
it
so
comes
true.
into a heartbeat. Sacrificing for your spouse now.
You didn't come out of me.
Exactly.
You did not come out of me. You're another human. But then you came out of him. Oh! You are the rib.
Okay, so
sorry, I just got excited.
himself with the revelation of what that is. So, as the wife,
oh God,
you are the rib to your Adam.
Oh God,
so effectively,
that's too funny.
I think what Ulrich is trying to insinuate here is that as the wife, we should find it easier to submit to the husband because we came out of him. And as the husband, he shouldn't have to find it difficult to submit to us because he was the foundation.
What's that word that you like to say? Yes. I can confirm but do not deny. No, but on a real though, it's you're absolutely right. Do you know what I mean? With children, It is definitely, it's a natural thing. But with your spouse, it is something you learn, because with a child, like you rightly said, coming out of you, there's a immediate connection.
Attachment, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But I would also hope that, after some years, that oneness.
You definitely get to that space.
Yeah, you definitely do get there.
Yeah, and I think I've got a couple of requests of those who are on the line today.
Okay.
It's really for you to put in some of your acts of service, put in some of your suggestions. So like, put it up in the comments boxes, like things that you have either experienced or things you've done as an act of service to someone that they really appreciated. Because I think that we can kind of get into a rut of forgetting just how important and how sentimental acts of service is.
Yes.
It can move mountains. It can make people feel so secure. We're out and we ain't going back. That's true.
Come on now.
That's very true, Arlene.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no. Like, if you guys just put it up, put up some suggestions, put up some of the things, because I know that when somebody communicates with an act of service, it's the unspokenness of it. It's the humility, like the humbleness, humility of it, and it's the effect that it has. It
definitely
leaves people really feeling inspired, encouraged, like feeling really special. And I think everybody needs to feel like that every day, really.
Absolutely. And I think even like taking it like personal to us, like I think when we first got married, like cleaning was an annoyance for me. Like, because Siobhan actually thought that I enjoyed doing it, but I didn't, because I remember the way my mum raised me was to clean up and tidy up, and I hated it. With a passion. I did not like hoovering. I did not like washing up dishes. Sorry, Mum, if you're listening. I didn't like any of those things. Do you know what I mean? So it's like when I went to uni, that's when I realised all of her training, because I was just like, why is this place so nasty? Why are my flatmates leaving the kitchen in a madness? And I would literally take, like, after church or just before church, I would go into the kitchen and completely annihilate the whole kitchen, just so that they can understand that, look, this is how it should be done. But at the beginning of our marriage, it was an annoyance, because I was just like, oh, do I have to? Do you know what I mean? But I think as the years have gone by, especially it
was traumatized. You're absolutely right.
Especially when Siobhan had Matthias and she became a mother, and I saw how she managed the home and how she, she was working at the time. Do you know what I mean? Because she was essentially the main breadwinner for quite a number of years. Do you know what I mean? I was still doing my business and bringing in quite a bit. But she was the one who was, going to work every day and, doing all the kind of stuff. So my acts of service became something that I loved doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it was no longer for my own, like, amusement, so to speak, to have everything clean. But now it's for her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's one less thing that she doesn't have to do.
Yeah.
And same thing with, like, the cooking and all that. Because I love cooking. Do you know what I mean? But I think another thing we have to understand is that things will always change over time.
That's right.
It's like what we said, I think 2 weeks ago. Different seasons require different love languages. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Because where it was one thing in one season, it's another thing in another season.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And so it's also having the understanding of the seasons that you're in.
Yeah.
And actually having the dialogue again to say, what's going on? Because right now, Siobhan already knows. Like, one of my highest love languages right now is quality time. I just want to spend time with her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just want to chill, whether it's a movie, whether it's we're just snuggling up or just chilling and just chatting and just, you know what I mean? So, and it wasn't like that before. Do you know what I mean? At the very beginning, physical touch was high on the radar, know?
That long fast.
You understand?
But guys,
Lord Jesus. Hallelujah.
What we'd
Next
also
week,
say...
come quick.
Okay, come on.
I'm joking.
But what I think also comes to mind is what you've seen as well growing up.
So good. Yes.
So
100.
I can categorically remember
100.
during our premarital, so we sat down with this lovely couple, Ken and Yvonne.
Yeah.
And they asked us, what do you see marriage looking like? And for me, what I saw marriage looking like was what I saw from my parents and my gran and so on and so on. So I was like, yeah, so like my dad cooks, so it's not just the women that cook, but generally the women cook, the women clean, the women do that kind of stuff in the house. And those were like acts of service and things that you just got on with, like roles and responsibilities kind of thing. But Ulrich, when we sat down, he didn't put that down in what he sees in marriage. And I was kind of like,
Because I didn't need anybody to cook and clean for me. I knew how to do it. So
and that now kind of, it made me feel a bit like, oh, that was what I was coming to give as a love gift.
You can still get that, baby.
But at the point when he said, that doesn't mean anything to me, I'd much rather have quality time with you or spending time doing other things. So I was kind of like, oh. So automatically it challenged my perception of what marriage was. I thought marriage was, okay, cool. You get married, you do your thing, and you make sure you cook and you clean and you iron their shirts and all of those kind of things. And he was like, no, I don't need you to do any of that.
100.
I can quite capably iron my own shirt for work. So then, and then it got to the stage where he wasn't even wearing shirts. And then it got to the stage where he wasn't even leaving the house. He was working from home.
Hello.
So then there was like,
dressing gowns.
that all of those things that I thought, it was gone. There was no point to it. There was no need for it.
Yeah. So true.
I say all of it to say it challenged my acts of service.
Yeah.
Because then my acts of service had to go to a different place. And I think a lot of the time when we think about acts of service, sorry, my nose keeps itching. A lot of the time when we think about acts of service, we think about household chores. But it's not necessarily. Acts of service is going up the road to get someone something that you know that they need, like let's see, they need their prescription fulfilled, or they need something picked up, or they've ordered something from the shop and it hasn't arrived as yet, and don't worry, I'll go and get it. Like those are like you're doing things for people rather than just tidying up the house. Okay, so Arlene has said most of us are a combination of all love languages. That's right. This lockdown has provided so many opportunities to see the variety of languages that each encompasses. You have to keep an eye out for the changes. That's so true.
Because you can miss it. Because you could just slip into one love language and the other person don't know. And you're trying to do what they were doing in the last season, and they're gone. But this is why communication is key.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean?
True.
Communication is the foundation, and we don't always get it right.
No,
we don't always communicate. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes we sense it, and that's when we ask. And sometimes, not that it's too late, but it's just like, And I think sometimes, for us, we have this kind of, let me speak for myself. Like I have this kind of thing about, not necessarily needing to rely on Siobhan. I think I mentioned it before, where especially in your singleness, you have to get to a place where you're not reliant on your spouse or you know what I mean, for the attention and the fulfillment of love. Do you know what I mean? You have to be able to almost pull that from God. Do you know what I mean? And be able to stand and be like, yeah, I'm cool. Do you know what I mean? I'm actually okay. So sometimes for me, I don't always communicate when I necessarily need something. And then sometimes, because I haven't communicated it, it stifles my ability to give as well. Yes. So she's saying yes because, but it's real. it's real. And I think, again, it just going off what Arlene said, you know, it's just keeping an eye for the changes of seasons.
Yeah.
Because seasons can affect you in a different way, which causes you to kind of go into like almost like a depression, where it's like things just shut down. Do you know what I mean? So it's just really always keeping an eye on that, and and remembering to kind of slip back into reality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so at the moment is not getting up too early to exercise. Hubby doesn't appreciate me creeping around in the dark at 5 a.m. to get ready.
I love it. But it's that,
Come on.
it is you being conscientious, it is you being considerate. I know, like, for Ulrich, there are times when he is hard pressed at work and he is right up against the clock to get things done. So myself and the boys, we're in the kitchen. Matthias is doing his homeschooling. Cyrus is doing we're just cooped up in that one room. Why? Because it allows and affords him the space to get on with what he needs to get on with without the distractions, without the different things. But however you choose and you live, like, there are so many different acts of service that we do unknowingly. But the point of it is, how considerate can I be? How attentive can I be? How helpful can I be? How can I help? I think that's it. Like, you want to help your friend, you want to help your spouse.
Yeah.
You don't want them to be feeling like you're giving more stress, you're an extra burden, you're an extra layer of problem, because that's not cool at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, acts of service.
Woo. So, guys,
so what do you guys think?
Yeah. So,
what do you guys think? And then, do you want to tackle Kaon's question? How do you know when you've forgiven someone?
Quiche. Okay.
We should send you back to our forgiveness series.
We did do a series on forgiveness, but I think in a nutshell, when you have forgiven someone, it is when you can speak to that person, see that person, think about that person, and you're not still, one, justifying yourself, or justifying what happened, or trying to address what happened, or trying to make your point again. And also that you don't have that
feeling.
You don't have anything twinging inside of you. Actually,
you can remember.
Yeah. We're not saying forget it.
Because you know what, I'm not even, I'm gonna say scrap that, but not to scrap what you've said, but just think about it this way, and we mentioned it as well. There's a scripture in the Bible where the disciples come to Jesus and they said, how many times should we forgive somebody when they offend us? He said 7 times. And Jesus said 70 times 7, which is 490 times a day. Right? And one of the things that Siobhan dropped on me a couple of months ago was that the reason why it was so many times was not because of the act of what they did, but the memory of what they did. Because the memory will continually replay in your mind. Like, even now, certain people who hurt me, I can switch to the memory. I could just press play and just be like, do you understand? So you ask the question, how do you know when you've forgiven someone? It's a continual thing.
It's a continual process of you laying it down before the Lord, you praying for them. It's a
continual thing.
But it's one of those things where it is in the Lord's Prayer for a reason. Jesus addresses it as that is so important because it will block you. And our dear brother Manfred, he runs something on Clubhouse where they talk about church hurt. And he runs a room and it's amazing. And one of the things that we're talking about is the power of forgiveness. And we were talking about, and we were saying that forgiveness is purely selfish. You need to deal with unforgiveness for self, for you, for your
not
own
the
self.
Person,
it's not about the person,
because that stuff will drive you into a dark hole
and hold up your blessings.
And they've gone on with their lives. You know,
they're doing what they're doing.
They've probably forgotten. They probably didn't even know that they offended you.
Some of them do.
They didn't even. Some of them don't even know. And you're there just heated. Every time they send a message, every time they like your picture, and you see their thing come up, you're just like, why are you like? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a real thing, guys. But how do you know when you're forgiven? is when where the heat, the flames in your heart isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
You remember and you reminisce and you're kind of like, sure. But that heat, that I don't know what to call it. You know what I'm talking about. That thing that boils you up to your core. When that begins to go, that's when you know that, you're starting to kind of let it go. And it's not affecting you as much.
Yeah.
And you can be in the same room and not feel a particular way. And
Absolutely.
you can function and
Yeah.
you are completely confident in yourself.
Yeah.
Your self-worth, your self-belief in what you are capable of doing, and what they do doesn't affect you. Do you get what I mean? But it takes time, guys. Forgiveness is time, and we, one of the things that Siobhan was saying that we spoke about was about forgiving quickly, because forgiveness was my issue. That was like my issue. Unforgiveness was it was my issue. I used to hold grudges against Siobhan for days, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't speak to her for days. Can you imagine?
And we had to deal with that one. Oh, Lord.
That was horrible.
Oh, Lord.
That was horrible, man.
It was real bad.
It's horrible. I think I'm a lot better now, because I don't get as heated anymore.
No, it probably lasts like 45 minutes.
If even that.
20.
Just like, it's fine, babes. It's fine. Don't worry. I've forgiven you. Like this. That's what she used to say. I forget. What did you used to say to me? You'd be like, I forgave you.
Ages ago.
I forgave you ages ago.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you did.
Yeah.
Or you just saying that. Sure. Anyway.
Okay, so we've got. Let's see how to pray it out. Absolutely. Listen, can't be having all 2-3 days. We've got work to do.
Yeah, it's true, man.
So just coming back to some of the comments.
It's not. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So it's not the number of times either. The Bible doesn't say the day, that a month, or a year. I think Jesus was basically saying you always forgive, even if that person goes over the limit. And I absolutely.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. That's good. I know I've forgiven, not when I've drawn a line under something that happened, but when there is no line, like it never happened.
That's good. That's good. Oh, because it's like,
I want to get in that one. Lean. Like it never happened. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but that's the point of it, because you pray. You're actually. You see them like it never happened.
Yeah.
The way that you feel about it is gone.
Jeez. You guys, man. You guys.
We want to get into these ones.
I'm trying to close off, and you guys are trying to
hold on. Hey.
Yeah, man.
It's good to see
no,
you.
but guys, seriously, we totally hear you. Like forgiveness is a really powerful thing, but it's always about you.
Yeah.
It's always about you at the end of the day.
Yeah. But guys, just coming back to our original topic, which is the 5 love languages and talking about acts of service. I think we started off the conversation by liking it to submission. And I think if you are having problems with acts of service, you might want to look at how you see submission. If you have problems submitting, or you find it difficult even going to that place where you have to humble yourself or submit to someone for whatever reason, you may find that
Arlene's calling me out, you know. I'm always ready. No, I'm joking.
But yeah, you may find that actually the challenge that you're undergoing is because there are some key areas within submission that are tripping you up. Definitely. And that's why it's very difficult to now go into some of the acts of service.
Absolutely.
Guys, we're going to come off soon, but if you've got any acts of service, so Arlene said one of her acts of service is not tiptoeing around in the night to let her husband sleep. I mean, hello, 5 o'clock in the morning, being considerate. If you've got any of your acts of service that your partner, your person, even you have appreciated that someone's done for you, by all means,
or even your parents. Because I always try to take it away from just relationships and marriage.
It's true.
Because acts of service happens in many ways.
Many ways. No, I would definitely say that. I mean, my dad, he's acts of service guy forever. And the biggest thing that I can remember, I think I was like 18 at the time, I ordered a brand new television, and he literally went down to the shop whilst I was at work, picked it up, brought it home, and fitted it in my room.
Crazy.
You know, like one of those things, because I was saying, oh, I'm not going to be able to get down there to pick it up. I finish work at 5:30 and I'm all the way in West London and the shop closes at 6. I won't make it in time. How am I going to get it? It's such a big TV. I'm not driving yet. There were a whole heap of different things.
Yeah.
And when I came home, I actually responded really, really badly to his act of service. So he fitted the TV and I came home and I was like, it doesn't even look like it's the right TV. It looks like it's the wrong size. It's not even big enough.
Thanks, Dad.
And my dad was like, don't you think you should have started with, thank you, Daddy? And I was like, It was at that point that I knew I need to fix up. I need to actually recognise this area here, because it can cause some real deep offence. And it's always stayed with me. My dad would continue doing things like that. But I say all of it to say that I appreciate...
He's doing alright, you know. Listen, guys, get off our chat, yeah? Go and talk on WhatsApp, alright?
When I gave you one of my cubics, even though you had your own. That love right there.
Too funny. I'm done with you guys.
But no, those are acts of service.
Yeah.
And you know the person's going to appreciate it.
Too funny. His acts of service was not beating you.
Very true. Very true. Very true. That was my first job out of university, and I tell you,
gosh.
you well and truly could have done that.
That
it
is
was
funny.
Such rudeness. But at the same time, this always stayed with me.
Yeah.
And even that television, I'm not even going to talk about it, but it has stayed with me as a marker.
Reminder.
And a reminder. These are acts of service. These are acts of love. And you have to appreciate them.
Definitely. Guys, we are going to be out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. It's been so amazing. For those of you joining in like right now, just literally rush over to YouTube, Facebook, like the video, subscribe,
share,
because we're here literally every Tuesday at 9 p.m. GMT. Guys, seriously, we truly like appreciate you guys, honestly, because we know that whether there's 8 or 8,000 people on here, do you know what I mean? We know that this is hopefully going to help someone, and that it has been at some value to you guys. But yeah, guys, appreciate it. Could have been watching Netflix, could have been watching Prime, could have been watching Disney, but you decided to spend your time with us, and we appreciate you. Alright, guys, have a blessed evening, and yeah, man, we'll be here next week.
Kids with, I think forgiveness manifests itself differently depending on the person. Oh, thank you, Arlene. See, Kids was, how you gonna put that? How you gonna drop that?
How you gonna drop that at 53,
we
bro?
We wanna hear you. We wanna hear.
53, you know. Well, we'll try and remember that statement. See, I think forgiveness manifests itself differently depending on the person.
Boy,
good night, everybody. We love you guys, man. We love you. See you later. Quality time is calling. Good night.
Quality time is calling.